The other day I asked my 7-year-old to tidy his room, and he walked in here and he looked at me and he said, "Why should I, when your room looks like this?" As I'm on this mission to improve my creativity, I need an environment that helps me to do that. A place that creatively inspires me, a place that encourages me to do good work. And this is not it. Like many of you, I've worked out of a home office for the last few years, but it's taken me a really long time to realise the negative impact that that work environment has had on my creativity. It causes me massive amounts of procrastination, it stifles my ideas, it becomes a distraction from the tasks I'm trying to achieve, and it just stops me from doing the things that I want to do. And I just feel like there's this sense of it dragging down my creativity in my work. Basically, my workspace as I have it creates a huge amount of friction for me, and I think that friction can be avoided by rethinking the environment in which I work. I'm fed up of stuff not being in the right place. I'm fed up of things being difficult to find. I'm fed up of there just being stuff everywhere. When I look around this space, I'm always seeing something that needs to be done, and being routinely distracted by this shit is just so draining. And I don't even want to be here. I want to be in the outdoors. Filming, photographing, adventuring. But no, I'm thinking forward to my future self who is super organised and super tidy and has his shit together. Today is the day that I actually change my environment into a place where I like working, thus taking another step down the road towards creative redemption. I have a guilty passion that I've never disclosed, looking at desk setups. I just love a good desk setup tour, and I would be so happy if I were to be able to work in some of these spaces. But then it got me thinking, if I were to have one of these spaces, would that actually work for me? No, it wouldn't. Because these setups are lacking two things that I really value. Number one is storage. I have a lot of stuff, and I seemingly keep adding to my stuff. So the stuff needs to go somewhere. And at the moment, it doesn't. It goes everywhere. I think one of the things I'm realising as I do this and actually work through some of the stuff that I've got here is so much of this stuff doesn't have a home. And if it doesn't have a home, it just gets put somewhere. And something I've learned is that surface does not equal storage. Apart from it does in my world. That is definitely one of the key things that I need to address, because there is stuff on every single surface, and to move it just gets from one surface to another. These setups just don't match my storage needs. I have considered minimalism and I like the values that minimalism brings, but it just doesn't work for me. And I feel like in this context especially, it would restrict rather than enhance my creativity. Secondly, personalization. Now, I'm not saying that these spaces aren't personal to the user, but they're just not personal to me. I want to have things in my space that mean something to me. And some of these items I'm discussing just don't really fit into that super fine-tuned aesthetic that you tend to see on Instagram. So I'm aiming for a bit of a happy medium, somewhere that I really like to work, somewhere that inspires me to be creative, but somewhere that also functions as a good workspace and as a setup for filming these YouTube videos. It also needs to work as an office for someone else, because this isn't even my desk. My desk's over there. This was just the only tidy corner of the room to film in. Somebody's workspace that really inspires me is Casey Neistat's. It's a decent size, it's good for filming in, it's super organised. Obviously the dream would be to have a dedicated workspace like that, but personal to me. But I've got to be realistic. I am in what is effectively a spare bedroom in a house. So there's those limitations placed upon what I can do where I am. So with a vague idea of what I'm trying to achieve, what I need to store and how I want this to look, I think there is no real plan. I'm going to go off to the shops and just buy the things I think I need and hope that it works. I am quite good at visualizing things, so I'm fairly confident it'll work out. The first element that I considered was function. I needed to remove the aforementioned friction by giving everything a proper home. Camera gear, print gear, accessories, drones, audio gear, cables, craft stuff, stationery, notebooks, so much stuff. I also needed to have an easily accessible charging station, somewhere to put dead batteries, charged batteries, empty memory cards, and I've often always got bags everywhere, so having easy access to bag storage was also really important. I had to use the space as well as I could because of its limitations in size, which meant some of my stuff has had to go in the garage, which is probably long term a better place for it, but the garage is a problem for another day. Once that was taken care of, I came on to the second element, the aesthetics. How it looks and therefore how it feels. A lot of this was dictated by the current furniture, that I wasn't about to spend a load of money changing all my furniture. I want the things that I look at to make me happy. I want them to inspire me. But most of all, I want them to not piss me off. Struther said in this video that a space should reflect the person that you want to be. Who do I want to be? A photographer, a filmmaker, a creative, someone that's adventurous, someone that's organised and calm and healthy. And I realised as I was doing this that a space shouldn't just look nice. It needs to appeal to all the senses. It needs to feel nice and smell nice and sound nice. And I realised on that front that I hadn't previously been doing that bad a job. And I have a space where I can easily film from 2 or 3 different angles, plus the ability to do top-down shots in 2 or 3 different areas as well. My desk is and was a standing desk, and since moving it next to these shelves, it means I have easier access to the things I need on a day-to-day basis to work in my best possible way. It also feels that little bit cozier as well, which has been helped by adding some desk lamps and also putting my pictures up on the wall as well. It definitely has a homier feeling than it did previously. As I bring this video to a close, I'd invite you to look at your personal creative environment. Does it reflect who you want to be? And can you change it to bring it more in line with that? And if so, what changes could you make now? What changes are quick, easy wins that could make you feel more comfortable and more creative when you're working in that space? Now, I'm not going to lie, this is a painful process. I feel like I've done hardly anything and I've just had enough. Why? It's just, this is really a lot harder than I thought it would be. Start to finish, this has taken me just over 3 weeks now, hence the massive delay on this video, that and having the worst cold I've ever had for the last 2 weeks. But I just got massive decision fatigue throughout and I just got bored of doing it really quickly. Now that it's done though, I can genuinely step into this space with a big smile on my face. Can I turn that into a song? Don't turn it into a song. I look forward to sitting down, lighting a candle, putting some music on, and just getting into my creative flow. And I've realised something as this has come together. This space dictates so much of my life. These videos that I do on YouTube, the paid work that I do, how often and when I get to escape into the outdoors, the editing I do on my photos, the prints I make, and also a lot of my creative ideas. What also struck me was that, rather embarrassingly, this space became a reflection of the rest of my home. Thankfully though, the work I've done in here has been reflected out there-ish. Now over time, this space is going to change. Things are going to be added, things are going to be taken away, my storage requirements will be amended. But overall, the lessons that I've learned and how I value this space, that will definitely remain. Now, if there's anything you want to know about this space or anything I've got in it, please fire off a comment down below and let me know how you like to set up your space as well. I'm hoping that this is a place where we can all learn something from one another rather than me just saying things about how I do stuff. I was going to do a bit of a tour video really, but I think the principles I've laid out in this video are so much more valuable than going into intricate detail about every little thing that I've got in this office. What you have in your workspace needs to work for you and you only. That's the most important thing. Use videos like this to inspire ideas within yourself, but only you know the things that you want in a space to make you feel at your most creative. Appreciate everyone watching as always, and until next time, bye.
Like a glove.